All right, so welcome to this video on how to schedule a weekly timetable. Okay, so the first step was just kind of acknowledging that we want to set goals and we want to set priorities on how we use our time. Now, how do we actually make that happen? And one thing that I'm going to share with you is developing a weekly schedule that will help you keep track of what your week is going to look like, and what are the events and what are the tasks that kind of need to be done by that certain time frame during the week. Now, this is useful for a few reasons. Number one, it's recognizing that good intentions aren't enough. Just because you want to spend more time doing something doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen automatically and you're all of a sudden going to find the time and the motivation to get it done, right? And so developing a weekly timetable helps you put some legs on your intentions and actually turn them into actions, right? The second thing when it comes to scheduling a weekly timetable is that it helps you not have to rely so much on your memory. When an event pops up or a task pops up, you can put it into your schedule, and that will help you not rely so much on remembering things and remembering the whole 7 days. I don't know about you, but I have terrible memory, and so by doing this, it actually helps me not rely on my memory and still get things done. Okay, and the last thing is that it also guards against your blind spots. It guards against events and things that will pop up out of nowhere that you don't expect. And you can watch for those things within your weekly timetable and keep track of those things ahead of time as well. So even just developing a weekly timetable will actually help you see what your week is going to look like ahead of time, and that's really helpful. Okay, so let's jump into it. How do I do that, right? All right, so how do we actually schedule a weekly timetable? Okay, so one of the first things you probably need is some sort of template that you can use to plan out what your week is going to look like. Okay, so I've just kind of brought up I created an Excel spreadsheet of a timetable template that you can download and you can fill in if you really want to. The alternative is you use an app. So for example, Google Calendar is really useful to lay out your weekly timetable and plan when your events are, just so you can have an overview and a snapshot of your week. But let's say for this exercise, I'm going to use Excel spreadsheet to kind of get ourselves started. I've also put down there my priorities and my goals that I've set from the previous videos on how I want to use my time. And so I'm going to show you how to link the two together. Okay, so I'm pretty much aware that every day from about 8 to about 5 p.m. I have school, with the exception of Wednesdays, because I work for church on the Wednesday, so I'm going to leave that empty. Okay, and then so I can plan out that this is my school time. Okay, I have devotions on here, and then I have cultural studies here. Let's say cultural studies here and here, right? And then I can even fill up my subjects. I know, let's say for example, I might have 11 bio here, maybe 8 science here and 10 science here. I'm just making this up for now, but you get the point, right? And let's say for example, I do also know that after lunch here, I am going to have a year 11 bio assignment due, right, on Friday. And let's say for this particular case, I'm starting at Monday this week, right? I also know that I can block out some of my other things that I know. So for example, I know that I work for church on Wednesdays, and so I'm going to block that out in a different color, so maybe just blue. I know that I have church on Sunday at 10 a.m. Oops, that's not how you spell church. And that's going to take up 2 hours of my time. And then also straight afterwards, I have life group. And so that's also a church related thing. I can block out a few of my other things. So let's say, for example, on Friday nights, I have youth group, and that goes for about 2 hours. And once again, that's another block time there, and then also a leaders meeting there, and so forth. So you can see there I'm blocking out my time pretty well right now. I can even block out times that I use for other activities that I know kind of happen, sporting events, family dinners, all the sort of your committed events in your week that you really can't avoid. Okay, so that's a way of looking at it. Now, for the sake of time, I'm just kind of going to show you an example of what that looks like already for me. And so here is kind of roughly what my timetable might look like in this particular week. It's week 4, and I'm starting on the Monday here, and I know that this is what my week is going to look like. Okay. How do I turn some of this stuff into actual scheduled time? Okay, and that's where you actually block out your time. Once you've kind of figured out where your fixtures are, you can now start to put in what this week is actually going to look like. All right. So if I know, for example, right, that one of my priorities is making sure that I spend time with my family during this time, then I'm going to schedule in family dinners, and I'm going to commit to staying home and eating dinner with my family on these days. So, 6 p.m. mostly on the weekdays and maybe 7 p.m. on the weekends. And that's going to satisfy my requirement here and knowing that I've spent time with my family. All right. Now, if I say I want to spend time improving year 11 biology, right, I need to think, okay, what am I going to spend this week to study for my year 11 biology? So maybe I'm going to go over this chapter, I'm going to go over these questions, I'm going to go over these videos that I watch on YouTube or whatever, right? And so I'm going to put that in, right? So I'm going to put in 11 bio study here, right? And maybe I'm going to use the school color orange for that, right? And then I'm going to suggest maybe another time that I want to study. Now, if I know, let's say, for example, that I don't work really well after school, I actually need to take a break, eat dinner, and then I'm really good, then what I can do is I can probably move that time frame down to here, right? And I'll just get rid of that so that you can see. And then there, I am going to move it to a place where I'm a bit more in a better mindset to actually study and do work. If I do really well on the weekends, then maybe I'm going to put in maybe an hour here, 11 bio study here, and then maybe another hour after lunch, 11 bio study here, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm setting these goals and I'm achieving these goals, okay? If I want to contact with my friends and maintain that contact with my friends, I might decide that I'm going to commit to Zoom one of my friends this week, and I'm going to Zoom Tim because Tim's a good mate of mine, and that's going to happen on Sunday nights, right? Obviously, I have to ask him and plan with him. If I want to exercise, and I know that the best time maybe is Sunday afternoon, I'm going to exercise, and once again, I'm going to put a different color there, and let's say I'm going to use green for that, and maybe I'm going to play guitar and improve on guitar on Saturday nights for 2 hours. And you can see there, I am now satisfying my goals, right? And then maybe I can set up an aquarium somewhere in there, right? Into my weeks so that I know that this is dedicated time. And so now when I look at my weeks and I look at my Saturday, if I hadn't done this, I might think I've got all day Saturday free, but I actually don't. I've got a quiet time in the morning. I've got some study before and after lunch. I'm going to play guitar after dinner. And so I have the afternoon free, and maybe I'll have late Saturday night free, but I don't have all day free like I thought I did. So I can't just go out and go shopping or go out and do whatever I want without realizing that it's going to have consequences on the actual commitments that I've put for myself. Okay. Now, one of the other things that having a weekly timetable helps you see a bit ahead of time on when due dates are occurring. Okay, so for example, if I know that my Friday, I have an assignment due there, right? And I look at my weekly timetable, I might think that, okay, that means I'll have to study Thursday night. But wait a minute, I have an event on Thursday night, and that is prayer with friends or family dinner or whatever I've committed to, right? And so maybe I might think, okay, that means that I can't really spend the Thursday doing my assignment. I have to spend the Wednesday night doing my assignment. So I'm going to go 11 bio study, assignment work there, and that's going to take 2 hours of my time on Wednesday night, right? So now when I get to Wednesday, rather than going, I've got my Wednesday night free, I can play my video games or go to social media, I realize, hold on, if I don't spend my Wednesday night studying for biology, I'm not going to have the freedom of Thursday, and it's going to squish my time and make me feel stressed because I've got all these events on that I have to kind of attend, and I feel overwhelmed. So instead, I'm going to plan Wednesday night. If I know that perhaps maybe, that's not the best time, then maybe I might decide to do it on Tuesday night instead, right? And that offers up some more free time on Wednesday night to chill or whatever. And so I'm going to kind of plan ahead of my schedule, right? And so now that I look at my week, it's not as free as I thought it was, because not only am I looking at events that I actually have on, I'm also looking at my commitments that I'm committing to. And that is how you actually use a weekly timetable to make sure that you stay on top of your commitments and your priorities and keep track of your time better. Okay, so hopefully that helps, guys. And then, yeah, give it a shot. Actually plan out your week, and you would be surprised at how much freedom it actually releases you to be able to enjoy the free time you actually have without feeling like you've got this kind of event or this task or this assignment in the back of your head going at you. Okay, so all the best with that, and I'll see you guys later.